At Survivor Series, I lost. Wade Barrett, he defeated me for the Intercontinental Championship. He retained his title, the one and only shot I've had at a championship so far. I have lost. I have failed. I continue to let myself and my fans down. But let me tell you something. No more. No more of this me losing. No more of me failing. From now on, from this day onwards, I am a new Dolph Ziggler. I will become the Intercontinental Champion. I will become a World Heavyweight Champion. I will be the man to main event show after show after show. And tonight, this all starts when I take on Jack Swagger. So Jack, tonight you're going to learn how it feels to take on the new Ziggler and how it feels to be beaten by the best. Well, Ziggler is certainly a man on a mission. Guys, welcome back to more WWE 2k14 Universe Mode. As you can see, 4 weeks away from TLC, and we start to build up and start to find out who will be taking on who at TLC. We start this off with Curtis Axel taking on Dean Ambrose, a US title contention match there, and the tag team of The Big Show and Rey Mysterio will take on the New Age Outlaws. Can Big Show and Mysterio get themselves in the title picture, or will it be the New Age Outlaws? And as we just heard, Dolph Ziggler will take on Jack Swagger, and that will be this week's matchup for main event. So Dean Ambrose knocks off Curtis Axel there, and Mysterio and The Big Show, they defeat the New Age Outlaws. So that is a big victory for them. And can Dolph Ziggler redeem himself here and get himself in the title picture? I don't know. It's going to be tough for him. I mean, he's coming off a big loss against Wade Barrett. You know, he probably should have won that one. You know, we were hoping, we had big expectations, big hopes that he would get the job done, and he failed. He failed this whole Survivor Series. I really thought that he would beat Wade Barrett, but unfortunately for him, he missed out. But can he redeem himself here against Jack Swagger? I don't know. I don't think the Smackdown, authority will really grant him another rematch. Does he really deserve it? Unless he continues to beat everybody. I think he'd have to go undefeated coming in to TLC to earn himself another shot. Or if not, he might get a rematch on Smackdown or even main event in the future. But other than that, I can't really see Dolph Ziggler getting another shot. He's had his opportunity. Let someone else have a shot. But we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully for Ziggler's sake that he can earn himself and earn himself back into that title picture. But for now, Jack Swagger, he's one man who's actually wanted to get himself in the title picture. Ever since he's split with Antonio Cesaro, the Real Americans, he's been a bit stagnant. He's been in and around the scene, but hasn't really done much. And hang on, here's Kofi Kingston. Here's one man who's had a lot of beef with Wade Barrett. He's taking down Jack Swagger. Now you got to remember, Kingston and Swagger, they had a lot of beef as well in the feud. Of course, the Real Americans and the split with them, and then Kingston and Swagger, they were actually teaming up after the split of the Real Americans to take on Barrett and Cesaro. But now, I guess Kofi Kingston's taking his frustrations out on Jack Swagger now that he's no longer in the title scene. Well, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see why exactly Kofi Kingston did that. But I was not expecting that. But Dolph Ziggler looking good here, taking Jack Swagger over the top rope. Now, going back to the Real American split, Jack Swagger, of course, being a little bit stagnant. He was teaming up with Kingston to take on Cesaro and Barrett, but never really got himself a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe it's his turn to get a shot next if Dolph Ziggler doesn't get himself back in that title picture. I don't know. But a big win over Dolph Ziggler here will certainly do him a lot of favors. But you got to remember, you look at Jack Swagger, he's gone from the Real Americans tag team, gone from the tag team, is probably going to be the #1 contenders, if not the next tag team champions, in my mind. Now he's gone back to the Intercontinental Championship scene, and now Antonio Cesaro is looking like he's going to be the next contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. So Jack Swagger is obviously going to be feeling as though, he's kind of let himself down a little bit, that his former partner, the man that turned on him, is actually succeeding much, much greater things than he is thus far. So Jack Swagger obviously got a point to prove that he is the better out of the former Real Americans. But so far, not so good for Swagger, but Cesaro looking good. And we may see Cesaro on Smackdown later on. But for now, Dolph Ziggler, did you see that clothesline? Oh my goodness. Here we go with the Heart Stoppers. And he's going to hit the third one here. I wish it was 10. We should be hitting 10 of those. Dolph Ziggler looking good. Might be trying to finish him off here with the famouser. Here we go. Can Ziggler finish him off? Here we go. The show off. Looking to try and get himself back in this Intercontinental Championship contendership. I thought he was going to go for the famouser there, but Jack Swagger trying to fight himself back in this match, trying to get himself back in this. And Ziggler maybe in a bit of trouble here. I thought he was going to hit that famouser. Now Swagger getting momentum, but Ziggler, nice little reversal there. And you know, look, Ziggler probably obviously very disappointed he couldn't beat Wade Barrett, but Wade Barrett is not an easy man to beat. He's been on a bit of a roll himself, Barrett, and Ziggler obviously feels as though he should be the Intercontinental Championship right now, Intercontinental Champion right now. You know, fair reasoning. You know, he's been in and around the world title scene. Didn't really get himself a shot, but he was around the bottom of the world title contenders there, and now he's never really been a top Intercontinental Championship contender. But you know, the Authority have given him an opportunity, given him a chance, and he did not make the most of it, which is disappointing. Here's a roll-up. Here we go. 2. Oh, almost through 3 count. I really thought he had that. Here we go. Oh, belly to belly. Actually, German suplex just tossing him over the top, though. And Dolph Ziggler going outside just to taunt around a little bit here. And Jack Swagger not happy with that. He's going to go outside the ring here. Oh, Ziggler went for a nice little drop kick, reversing that elbow from Swagger. There's a powerbomb to follow it up. Trying to break the 10 count now, getting back inside the ring, going to taunt himself away there, just to play with the crowd a little bit, try to get the crowd on his side. And that's one thing that Dolph Ziggler, I think, feeds off, is the crowd reactions. He needs the crowd to kind of be on his side. Or, oh, DDT! Beautiful stuff. He needs the crowd to be on his side to keep him going and get himself some momentum. Oh, famous there. That is going to be it. Here we go. 3 count, surely. 1, 2. Get the hell out of here. 3 count. Jack Swagger is defeated by the man, Dolph Ziggler. The man that we all thought was probably going to get himself in that Intercontinental Championship belt around his waist, but unfortunately, not good, not successful. But he has another opportunity. As he said, he's the new Dolph Ziggler. Can he get himself back in the title picture? The win over Jack Swagger is certainly going to help him there, but I think Kofi Kingston and Jack Swagger might have a little bit of beef to come in the future. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see what exactly happens. And of course, coming up next will be Friday Night Smackdown, and we have to find out who exactly is the next World Heavyweight Championship contender. And actually, that reminds me, I think the Authority had a bit of a message for Randy Orton on Smackdown, so let's actually go ahead and check out what they had to say. On Monday night, I told Randy Orton that I had a new job for him to do now that he is the newest member of the Authority. Randy Orton will not be competing on SmackDown for the world title. Randy Orton will not be an in-ring competitor for now. Instead, Randy Orton will be working behind the scenes with us, the Authority. So with that, the new General Manager of Friday Night SmackDown, Randy Orton. Hey Hunter, I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate everything you've done for me since I've been back. It means a lot that you've made me the GM of SmackDown. No worries, Randy. I really appreciate you coming on and taking this role with open arms. Now, once we get this thing done with The Rock, you know, it's going to be smooth sailing for the Authority. You know, I really wish you would reconsider, Hunter, about that match of being The Rock. I really think that I can take him out. Forget The Rock. Let's go celebrate you being the new GM of SmackDown, Authority style. Well, Randy Orton, the new GM of SmackDown, we have finally found out who's going to be the next man in charge. Let's go check out this week's card for SmackDown. As Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, they're going to take on the Shield. Kidd and Gabriel trying to make themselves as a credible tag team. The Usos will take on 3MB. Barrett will take on Christian. Jack Swagger will take on Kofi Kingston. Will Ken Swagger get his revenge from main event? Sheamus will take on Del Rio. And one of two, I think, matches I think will determine who's going to be the next man in line for Ryback's world title. And the other one, Antonio Cesaro taking on Chris Jericho. So, well, what an upset. Gabriel and Kidd, they knock off the Shield. I wouldn't have expected that. The Usos, they beat 3MB. Wade Barrett, the Intercontinental Champion, knocks off Christian. And Kofi Kingston gets another little one-up on Jack Swagger there. So interesting little situation we have there. And Del Rio, he beats Sheamus, and we'll go ahead and play Cesaro versus Chris Jericho. And we touched on Cesaro earlier, saying that he's been definitely the more successful out of the two former Real Americans. And now he's... I mean, if he can beat Chris Jericho here, without a doubt, he will be certainly looked at to be the next man in line for Ryback's World Heavyweight Championship, now that Ryback has dealt with Mark Henry, and Chris Jericho's pretty renowned for not winning the big one, not winning the big matches when it counts. So can he finally put that behind him? Some of you guys are actually saying, where the hell's Chris Jericho? Bring him back. Chris Jericho hasn't gone anywhere, guys. He just hasn't really been featured because he's, you know, not needed right now. But now he's back. I guess you can say he's back to try and prove Antonio Cesaro that he's still the legend that he says he is, and can he do it by beating Cesaro and getting himself in that world title scene? I mean, since Universe Mode has been around, it started in April, we are now in December, so that's quite a long time. Chris Jericho has yet to have one title match. And you might be wondering, how the hell is that possible? Chris Jericho's always in the title scene, he's always in the contention. He just cannot find the win. And what the hell is Drew McIntyre from 3MB doing here? The hell, Drew McIntyre, who just had a match earlier, I think. Oh, actually, no, it might have been Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater. But Drew McIntyre just had I don't know. From 3MB, he's here in the crowd for some reason. I don't know why. You know, maybe he's trying to make a name for himself and watch the main event thinking, this is how you do it. This is how you win a match. By watching these two guys who are going to just beat the crap out of each other, you can imagine here. Cesaro has really impressed me. Ever since he split from the Real Americans, he decided himself that, hey, I'll get rid of the Real Americans, let's break it up. I think that was around Night of Champions time, so a couple of months ago. And ever since then, you know, you kind of got the feeling that, I don't think Cesaro is going to be main event material. But he really has impressed me. He really has done his bit as of late. And I think, you know, he could be the next man in line. And certainly has had a little bit more success than Jack Swagger so far, like I touched on earlier. So, and on the contrary, Chris Jericho, he's had a lot of success on Smackdown, but had absolutely no success on pay-per-view. I don't think he's won a pay-per-view match yet. So Chris Jericho, I think, needs to prove himself. I think he finally needs to win a big matchup, get himself in the world title scene, because I honestly think if he gets a match for the World Heavyweight Championship, he's going to win it. That's what I think. That's my call. That's my prediction. So look out. If Chris Jericho can get himself in the TLC matchup, especially a TLC match, Chris Jericho certainly would favor in that match compared to Ryback. I think it could be the end of Ryback's World Heavyweight Championship reign, but Chris Jericho has to get himself in that matchup first, and I think Cesaro, he could be the man to actually beat Ryback as well. I mean, Ryback's only had to deal with Mark Henry so far, but he has beaten Chris Jericho a number of times as well. But Ryback, I think, would have a bit of trouble against Antonio Cesaro, in my opinion, whereas Chris Jericho, he's managed to beat him many, many times before, so I don't think Ryback will be too phased if he had to beat Chris Jericho. But also, Alberto Del Rio beating Sheamus there. I thought Sheamus was actually going to build himself up for another world title recall, but it wasn't meant to be. Del Rio beating him there, so perhaps Del Rio trying to make a play for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, with Del Rio, he's had a couple of opportunities before against the Big Show back a fair while ago. So, interesting there. I think Del Rio had a match against the Big Show at Extreme Rules, where we all thought he was going to win, and then he had another one at Vengeance, I believe, where he lost as well. And a little bit more convincing fashion there from the Big Show, who knocked him off. But can Del Rio get himself back in the title scene? It's interesting here. We've got a few guys like Sheamus, Del Rio. Big Show's now out of it. You know, Jericho, who probably should be World Heavyweight Champion, but just haven't been good enough. You know, Sheamus had a 5-day world title reign before Mark Henry stole it off him. So, very interesting here on SmackDown. Who's going to step up and be the next man in line? But there's a lot of candidates and there's a lot of opportunities. That's the good thing about Smackdown right now. There's a lot of guys that should be in and around that world title scene, but just haven't been able to crack that next level. So it's going to be interesting to see who does, in fact, actually get there. As Cesaro has Jericho up and a beautiful suplex there. Fantastic. I think that could be it. Here we go. 2. No, Jericho kicking out at 2. Cesaro staying... Jericho staying alive in this one. Hang on. Hang on. Neutralizer. And I think Jericho's terrible reign of losing the big matches will continue. Yes, it does. 3 count. And Cesaro's newfound momentum continues since his Real American split. And can the momentum continue to Cesaro winning the World Heavyweight Championship? It could happen. Guys, what a win. And hang on. Here's Drew McIntyre from the crowd. Now he's attacking Cesaro, thinking he's going to make a name for himself. Big Drew McIntyre. I don't know why he's out here or what he's doing, but he's here. He's trying to make a name. Will it work? I don't know. Guys, that's Smackdown. That's main event for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.